The rain hammered the terracotta roof of our hidden finca like 1,000 accusations, each drop echoing the betrayal I'd buried for months. Poppy's voice cracked through the storm. "Hope, I can't do this without you. Please, she's yours too." As she thrust the squirming bundle into my arms, her wedding ring glinting like a knife in the dim lamplight. In that instant, 9 years of stolen sunsets and whispered promises shattered, leaving me holding a child who looked nothing like the life we'd dreamed of in the sun-drenched hills of Catalonia. I remember the first time I saw Poppy 9 years ago, under the relentless Andalusian sun that turns everything golden and unforgiving. It was 2016, and I just arrived in Barcelona on a whim, a freelance photographer chasing light in stories, escaping the gray grind of Seattle winters and a family that still whispered disappointment behind my back. At 26, I was all sharp edges. Blonde hair cropped short like a challenge, blue eyes that saw too much, and a Nikon slung over my shoulder like armor. Spain was supposed to be my reset button, a place to capture the raw pulse of flamenco skirts and gothic alleys without the weight of expectations. She was in a tiny tapas bar off La Rambla, laughing with a group of locals, her auburn curls wild from the humidity, freckles dancing across her nose like stars someone had scattered too carelessly. Poppy O'Malley, Irish-American expat, 25, with a voice like aged whiskey and green eyes that pulled you in like the tide. She'd come to Spain 2 years earlier on a study abroad for art history, fallen in love with the canvases of Picasso and the chaos of siestas, and never left. "Why go back to Boston when the world's right here?" she'd say, her Boston accent softening the edges of her words. Our eyes met over a plate of patatas bravas, and it was electric, that rare spark where the air thickens and you forget to breathe. She slid onto the stool next to me, stealing a fry from my plate. "You're American. Let me guess." Escaping something. Her grin was mischievous, unapologetic. I laughed, the sound surprising me. "Chasing something, maybe. Name's Hope. Hope Riley." She extended a paint-streaked hand. She was a restorer at the Museu Nacional d'Art de Catalunya, breathing life back into faded masterpieces. "Poppy, and if you're chasing, stick around. Barcelona eats loners for breakfast." We didn't sleep together that night. It wasn't like that, not yet. Instead, we wandered the Barri Gothic until the street lamps flickered on, sharing stories over cheap sangria. She talked about her Catholic family back home, the invisible noose of expectations tightening around her throat. They want the husband, the house, the 2.4 kids. But me? I want the mess, the colors that bleed into each other. I confessed my own ghosts. The coming-out dinner where my dad had stared at his plate like it held the answers, my mom murmuring prayers under her breath. "Love's not a checklist," I said, and she squeezed my hand, her touch lingering just long enough to promise more. By dawn, we were back at her cramped apartment in Gracia, the kind of place with peeling frescoes and a balcony overlooking a courtyard where neighbors argued in rapid Catalan. We kissed there, tentative at first, then fierce like we'd been starving. It felt like coming home, her lips soft and urgent, tasting of salt and possibility. "This is us," she whispered against my neck. "Our secret canvas." We both knew the world outside those walls wasn't ready. Spain was progressive on paper, same-sex marriage since 2005. But in the expat bubbles and family ties that bound us, discretion was our shield. So we became a hidden masterpiece. 9 years of stolen weekends in hidden coves along the Costa Brava, midnight drives through olive groves, and lazy afternoons in her studio where she'd paint while I edited photos, our legs tangled under a threadbare quilt. Life wove us together thread by thread. I built a portfolio shooting weddings and protests, the 2017 Catalan independence marches, faces fierce with fire. Poppy climbed the ranks at the museum, curating exhibits on forgotten female artists, her passion a quiet revolution. We dreamed big. A shared studio in a finca outside Girona, where she'd restore relics and I'd capture the light on ancient stone. "Someday," she'd say, tracing patterns on my skin, "we'll shout it from the Sagrada Familia." But someday stretched, pulled taut by phone calls from Boston, her mother's voice frail with hints of illness, her father's gruff demands for grandkids to carry the name. My own family faded into emails, their silence louder than words. We had our rhythms, our escapes. Summers in a rented cottage near Cadax, where Dolly once wandered, swimming naked in coves that hugged the sea like lovers. Winters huddled in Barcelona's jazz clubs, her head on my shoulder as saxophones wailed our unspoken truths. Intimacy was in the quiet, the way she'd braid my hair with wildflowers, or how I'd surprise her with almond croissants from the bakery down the street, knowing she hated mornings. We were each other's anchor in a sea of transients, expats adrift, building a world from whispers. But cracks form in even the strongest stone. It started subtly 2 years in, when Poppy's mom was diagnosed with early-onset dementia. The calls multiplied, laced with guilt. "Your father's alone, Pop. He needs you." Poppy would hang up, eyes distant, and I'd hold her as she cried. "They don't know me, Hope." Not really. We'd reaffirm our pact. Spain was our truth, America a shadow. Yet doubt crept in like fog off the Mediterranean. She'd linger over family photos, her finger tracing the outlines of siblings with their tidy lives. "What if I'm selfish?" she'd murmur. I'd pull her close. "Love isn't selfish. It's the bravest thing." By year 5, the museum offered her a sabbatical, a chance to curate in Madrid, but with strings, networking back home. She went promising 2 months. It stretched to 4. Her emails grew clipped, filled with networking dinners and old friends. I flew once, met her in a plaza alive with street performers, but her laugh felt rehearsed, her touches fleeting. "It's just pressure," she said, kissing my temple. "You're my constant." I believed her because what else could I do? We were each other's secret, after all, too precious to question. Back in Barcelona, I threw myself into work. A series on queer elders in the city, their stories of hidden loves mirroring our own. It won me a grant, a whisper of validation from a world that still felt half asleep to us. Poppy returned with stories of Boston's autumn leaves and her niece's first steps, her eyes brighter but shadowed. "They miss me," she confessed one night, rain pattering against the window. "But I miss this more." We made love slowly, reclaiming the space between us, her body a map I knew by heart. The years blurred into a tapestry of almosts. We bought that finca in the Emporta region on a lark, a crumbling stone house with lemon trees and a view of the Pyrenees foothills, our someday made real through pooled savings and stubborn hope. Weekends there became sanctuary. Her sketching by the hearth, me capturing the dust motes in sunlight. We talked of adoption, of a life unapologetic. "Imagine her," Poppy said once, hand on my belly, "with your eyes and my fire." It was a dream fragile as sea glass. Yet the pull from across the ocean grew relentless. Poppy's father had a heart scare in 2022. Her mother's condition worsened, memories slipping like sand. "I need to go," she told me one crisp October evening, as we walked the beach in Taça de Mar, waves licking our bare feet. "Just for the holidays. Help settle things." I nodded, throat tight. "We'll video call every night. Like always." She kissed me fiercely, salt on her lips. "I love you, Hope. You're my horizon." She left in November, suitcase packed with promises. The finca felt vast without her. Echoes in empty rooms. Calls came sporadic. Families intense, but I'm holding. Then silence, broken by a text in December. "Miss you. Home soon." January brought flowers. Red roses from a Boston florist. A card reading to my light. Relief flooded me. But February's call was different, her voice hollow. "Hope, we need to talk. In person." I flew to Logan Airport on a red-eye, heart pounding like a war drum. She met me at a coffee shop in Back Bay, bundled in a wool coat, her curls tamed into a bun. No kiss, just a hug that smelled of unfamiliar detergent. "What's wrong?" I asked, sliding into the booth. She stared at her latte, steam curling like ghosts. "Dad's pushing hard. The legacy, the name. And Mom. She thinks I'm still that girl who'll marry the boy next door." I reached for her hand, she pulled away. "Poppy, talk to me." The words tumbled out. Pressure from her family, whispers from old friends, a chance encounter at a holiday party with Connor. A childhood acquaintance, stable lawyer. The kind of guy they approve of. They talked, laughed, and something shifted. "It's not love," she insisted, tears brimming. "But it's safe." And with Mom fading, I thought maybe I could give them this. A piece of normal. My world tilted. "Us? What about us?" She looked away. "I love you, Hope. Always. But this secret, it's eating us alive. Maybe. Space. To breathe. Space." The word was a chasm. I returned to Spain alone, the finca mocking me with its half-painted walls. Weeks blurred into numbness. Shoots abandoned, friends concerned, texts ignored. Poppy's messages trickled. Thinking of you. Then silence. By spring, a photo on Facebook. Her arm linked with Connor's at a family barbecue. Her smile brittle as cracked porcelain. The caption. Home where the heart is? Working on it. Betrayal settled like dust on my camera lens. 9 years, our secret, our sacred, reduced to a footnote. I drove the coast road to Cadax, screaming lyrics into the wind, the sea indifferent below. How do you grieve a ghost? I journaled furiously, photos turning dark. Shadows of lovers on empty beaches, faded like old Polaroids. Summer brought the call that cracked me open. Poppy's voice frantic. Hope? It's me. Don't hang up. Static hummed between us, an ocean apart. What do you want? I spat from the finca's balcony, stars indifferent overhead. I did it. Married him. Last month. Quiet ceremony. The line went dead in my mind, then roared back. Why are you telling me? A sob. Because I'm pregnant. And I can't. Connor's thrilled, but the museum's cutting my remote work, and Mom's worse. I need God, Hope, I need you. Need me? After everything? Rage boiled hot as Spanish noon. You made your choice, Poppy. Live it. But she pressed. The baby's due in November. And it's complications. Doctors say high risk. I want her safe. With you. In Spain. Please. Her. A daughter. The dream we'd whispered now twisted into this. I hung up, collapsing against the stone wall. The night air thick with jasmine and loss. How had we come here? From stolen kisses to this desperate plea. Autumn leaves in Catalonia mimicked Boston's, but they fell without the ache of familiarity. Just nature's quiet surrender. I spent those months hollowed out, wandering the finca's overgrown paths, clipping lemons that soured on my tongue. Poppy's words echoed. She's yours too. As if blood could rewrite history. I hired a local woman, Maria, to help with the grounds. Her chatter about village gossip a balm against silence. Amor es complicado, she'd say, pruning roses with shears that snipped clean. Complicated. Understatement of the decade. The emails started in earnest come September. Poppy methodical as ever. Updates on the pregnancy. Scans showing tiny limbs like brushstrokes on an ultrasound canvas. Heartbeat strong, she'd write. Like yours. I didn't reply at first, but curiosity or masochism won. Why me? I finally typed, fingers trembling over keys in the lamplight. Her response. A novel-length confession. The wedding had been a fog, vows exchanged in her parents' backyard under a tent strung with lights. Connor's hand steady on hers, but her mind on the sea crashing in Tassa. I thought it would fix things, she admitted. Make them proud. But every night I dream of you. Of us painting the nursery in that finca, laughing over spilled blues. Connor was kind, she said, solid like oak furniture. A partner in the practical. Joint accounts, doctor visits, nursery assembled in their back bay brownstone. But the spark? Absent. He's a good man, she wrote. Deserves better than my half-heart. The high-risk label came early. Her age, a family history of preeclampsia, the stress of it all. Doctors recommended bed rest. But her job demanded travel for the exhibit. I can't risk it, Hope. And Spain. It's her heritage too. Our home. Our home. The phrase clawed at me. I paced the finca's sala, floorboards creaking underfoot like old bones. Part of me wanted to delete her, block the number, let the Atlantic swallow us whole. But another part, the one that remembered her laughter in the rain, her fingers tracing my scars, softened. What if I said yes? Could I raise a child alone in this sun-bleached exile? My own family had cut ties loosely after my phase, as they called it. Friends in Barcelona were allies, not anchors. Adoption dreams had always included her. I sought counsel from Elena, a therapist in Girona I'd met through a queer women's circle. Her office overlooked the Anya River. Bridges arched like hopeful spines. Boundaries, Hope, she said, her Spanish lilt gentle. This isn't just about the baby. It's unfinished business with Poppy. Unfinished. God, yes. Sessions unearthed the rot. My fear of abandonment rooted in a childhood of my mom's fleeting moods. Dad's workaholic silence. You've been the strong one, Elena noted. But strength isn't solitude. I cried there, first time in years, the river murmuring below. October brought decisions. Poppy's flights were grounded. She FaceTimed from a hospital bed, pale against starched sheets. She's kicking, she said, guiding my gaze to the swell under the blanket. A flutter on the screen, insistent. My throat closed. She needs a name, Poppy ventured. Something fierce. We tossed ideas, Luna for the moonlit walks we'd taken, or Aria, like the song she'd hum while restoring. What about Sage? I suggested, voice rough. Wise, green like your eyes. Tears tracked her cheeks. Perfect. By week's end, I'd wired money for a prenatal flight. Barcelona El Prat direct. Come, I texted. We'll figure the rest. Relief in her reply. Thank you. I love. I didn't let her finish. Love was a word we'd poisoned. She arrived on All Saints' Day, the airport thrumming with families clutching marigold bouquets for graveside visits. Poppy, 7 months along, waddled through arrivals in a flowing maxi dress, curls frizzed from the crossing, a small suitcase trailing like an apology. No Connor, he'd stayed for work, supportive but swamped, she explained in the rental car. Tervel Road winding toward the finca. The air was crisp, eucalyptus sharp. Silence stretched, broken only by the radio's faint Catalan folk. At the house, I helped her settle. The guest room aired out, linens fresh with lavender from Maria's garden. She touched the walls reverently. It's more beautiful than I remembered. Dinner was simple. Gazpacho chilled to perfection, bread from the village bakery. We ate on the terrace, stars pricking the velvet sky. The distant sea a silver thread. How's married life? I asked, casual as I could muster. She winced. Performative. He's kind hope. Really. But it's like living in a museum. All preservation, no creation. I nodded, fork scraping plate. And the baby? Her hand curved protectively. Scans say she's good. But the risks? I can't shake the fear. That night, as thunder rumbled from the Pyrenees, she knocked on my door. Can't sleep. Storm's too loud. I let her in, our old ritual. We lay side by side, not touching, the space between us a minefield. I'm sorry, she whispered into the dark. For the secrecy. For thinking I could outrun us. Tears wet the pillow. I was scared. Of losing them, of dragging you into the mess. I turned, silhouette sharp. You did lose me, Poppy. The second you said, I do to him. Silence heavy. Then I know. But this child, she's the bridge. Let me build it with you. Days blurred into a fragile truce. Mornings I'd photograph the harvest, golden fields of sunflowers bowing to winter, while she napped, belly rising like a hillock. Afternoons, walks along the cliff paths, her arm linked in mine out of necessity, stirring ghosts. We talked in circles, the wedding's hollow vows, Connor's oblivious texts, miss you babe conference slang. Her parents' joy at the miracle. They think it's fixed me, she said one dusk, wind whipping her dress. But I'm still broken without you. I stopped facing her. Then unbreak it. Leave him. Her eyes sea green flickered. It's not that simple. The family, the stability. Stability. I laughed bitter. We built a life here. That's stable. But doubt not. Connor's world was safety nets, mine wild seas. Evenings we'd read to the bump, Pablo Neruda's verses, her voice lilting over. I want to do with you what spring does with the cherry trees. Laughter came tentative like sunlight after rain. Conflict simmered. A call from Connor mid-November. I answered on speaker by accident, his voice booming. Pop? You there? Doc say everything's on track. Can't wait for our little family. Poppy froze, then murmured. Hope's helping out. Be home soon. Click. The air thickened. Our little family, I echoed later, over herbal tea. What am I, Poppy? The nanny. She reached for me, but I pulled back. You're everything. This is temporary. Temporary, I spat. Like us. The argument erupted, words like shrapnel. Her accusations of my stubborn independence. My retorts on her cowardice. You chose the easy path. I yelled, storming to the studio, canvases mocking me. She followed, tears streaming. Easy? I'm unraveling hope? For them, for her, for a chance at peace. We collapsed against each other, sobs mingling. her belly between us like a truce flag. I never stopped loving you, she gasped. That's the hardest part. In that rawness something shifted. I forgave, not fully. Forgiveness is a process, Elena had said. But enough to hold her through the night, our hands entwined over the life we'd co-parent, however fractured. Ultrasounds became rituals, the technicians to do bien a mantra. We painted the nursery. Soft ochres and sea blues, mobiles of paper cranes she'd folded, whispering wishes. But betrayal's shadow lingered. One evening, rifling for her prenatal vitamins, I found a letter in her suitcase. From Connor, creased and worn. My dearest Poppy, it began. You've given me a future I never dreamed. I know your heart wanders sometimes, but come back to us. To me. The word stung. I confronted her at dawn. Letter trembling in my fist. Wanders? Is that what I am, a detour? Her face crumpled. It's poetry, Hope. He doesn't know. No one does. Lies layered like varnish. Then tell him, I demanded. Or leave for good. She chose silence, the coward's crown. Tensions coiled tighter, walks turning strained, meals eaten in clipped exchanges. Maria sensed it, her cuidado con el fuego, a quiet warning as she harvested olives. Fire indeed, it burned low but threatened to consume. Labor came early, a stormy December eve. Poppy's water broke during a downpour, contractions gripping like vice. The drive to Hospital de Figueras was a blur. Rain-slick roads, her gasps punctuating my white-knuckled turns. Stay with me, she pleaded, hand crushing mine. In the sterile delivery room amid beeps and masked faces, she pushed with a ferocity I'd only glimpsed in her art, raw, unyielding. At 3:17 a.m. Sage entered the world. 6 pounds of wrinkled fury, dark curls matted, eyes slitted against the light. She's perfect, Poppy breathed, exhausted triumph in her voice. I held her first, tiny, warm, a miracle in swaddling. Those eyes opened, blue like mine, and in that gaze 9 years converged. But as nurses bustled and Poppy dozed, my phone buzzed. Connor. Flight tomorrow. Can't wait to meet our girl. The word echoed, a fracture line. The hospital room smelled of antiseptic and new beginnings, but the air crackled with endings unspoken. Sage nursed at Poppy's breast, tiny fists kneading like dough, while outside, the imported dawn painted the Pyrenees in hesitant pinks. Connor arrived that afternoon, all pressed khakis and Midwestern earnestness, 36, broad-shouldered, with a smile that didn't reach his hazel eyes. He hugged Poppy gingerly, avoiding the 4-line, then turned to me. Hope, right? Poppy's told me so much. Thanks for being the rock. The rock. I nodded, throat dry, watching him cradle Sage like fragile porcelain. She's got your nose, he said to Poppy, beaming. She smiled weakly. Or Hope's stubborn chin. Awkward pleasantries followed. Talk of flights, car seats, the brownstones' nursery waiting. I lingered in corners, capturing moments with my phone. Poppy's exhausted glow, Sage's first yawns. But jealousy gnawed, a quiet beast. That night, as Connor snored on the fold-out, Poppy slipped into the hallway. Walk with me. We paced the quiet ward, Sage bundled between us. He's staying a week, she murmured. To help settle. Settle? Into what? And then? I pressed. Her eyes darted. Back to Boston. With her. But you'll visit. Summer's holidays will make it work. Work. The word mocked our history. Like a custody schedule? My voice rose, echoing off linoleum. A nurse shushed us. Poppy's whisper was fierce. It's for her. Stability. 2 homes but love in both. I stopped, Sage stirring against my chest. And us? What home do we have left? Tears welled. The one we built. Here. Don't make me choose again. Connor's week was a masterclass in tension. He charmed Maria with broken Spanish, barbecued chorizo on the finca's grill, even joined my coastal drive, Sage strapped in the back. Beautiful country, he said, wind tousling his hair. Poppy's lucky to have this escape. Escape. I bit my tongue, focusing on the road's curves. Evenings he'd retire early, jet-lagged, leaving Poppy and me to rock Sage by the fire. He suspects nothing, she'd confide, fingers brushing mine. Thinks you're the eccentric aunt abroad. Aunt. The diminishment stung. Yet glimpses of our old rhythm surfaced. Poppy humming lullabies I'd taught her, Sage's coos bridging silences. One night, under a canopy of stars, Connor asleep inside, Poppy leaned into me on the terrace. I was wrong, she admitted, voice like smoke. Marrying him didn't fix the ache. It amplified it. Our kiss was inevitable, soft, desperate, tasting of regret and rosemary. We can't. I pulled back, heart hammering. Not like this. She nodded, but her eyes pleaded. Stay, fight, forgive. The betrayal crested on his last day. Packing the rental car, Connor discovered the letter. The one from his suitcase, now crumpled in poppies. He read it silently, face draining of color. Wonders, he repeated, voice cracking. Poppy froze, sage in her arms. Connor, it's nothing. But he turned to me, pieces clicking. You. It's always been you. The air went still, charged as pre-storm. He didn't yell, worse, he deflated. 9 years? While I thought we were building. Poppy sobbed. I love you both. God, I'm sorry. Both. The lie landed like a slap. He left that evening, flight rebooked, a curt, take care of our daughter, his parting shot. Poppy collapsed on the sala floor, Sage wailing in tandem. I gathered them, rocking through the night, whispers of it'll be okay hollow even to me. Dawn brought resolve. Divorce papers emailed from his lawyer, custody battles looming. He wants joint, Poppy said, eyes red-rimmed. But Boston's no place for her now. She and I, hunkered down, lawyering up via Zoom with a Girona firm specializing in international family. Sage's first smile came mid-argument, gummy and radiant, disarming us. Winter wrapped the finca in frost-kissed quiet. Poppy dove into freelance restoration, scanning museum archives remotely, her laptop aglow by the hearth. I expanded my portfolio. A series on exile mothers, portraits of women like us, raising rainbows in reluctant lands. Sage became our axis, milestones marked in the margins. First giggle at a mobile crane, first crawl across olive rugs. Poppy's touch lingered. A hand on my waist while stirring paella. Shared glances over bedtime stories. We're doing this, she'd say, Sage between us in the big bed. You and me. But Connor's shadow stretched. Holiday cards arrived, stiff, from a Boston attorney. Demands for video calls, threats of relocation if stability faltered. Poppy's parents called, voices laced with confusion. A divorce? With the baby not even 3 months. Her mother's dementia blurred lines. When's the wedding, dear? But her father's rage cut clear. You've shamed us, Poppy O'Malley. That woman's poison. Poison. I heard it over speaker, gut twisting. Poppy hung up, hurling the phone. They'll never understand. Isolation crept in. Barcelona friends visited. Potlucks with cava and confessions. But the expat bubble felt thinner. Elena's sessions evolved. Codependency or codependence? She'd probe. Love rebuilds, but on truth. Truth. Poppy filed for divorce in February, citing irreconcilable wanderings. A poetic jab. Connor countered with therapy mandates, painting her as unstable. Court dates loomed via video. A Madrid judge, stern in pixels, weighing oceans apart. Spring thawed the fields, but not our fractures. Poppy's restlessness surfaced. Pacing at night, sketches turning turbulent. Swirling storms in emerald greens. I missed the museum, she'd admit. The life before. Before me? I swallowed jealousy, focusing on Sage's budding words. Mama for Poppy. Ho for me. Close enough to hope. One April afternoon, picnicking under almond blossoms, she broached it. What if I stayed? For good. My heart leaped, then plummeted. Divorce first. Then we talk futures. The high point came in May. Sage's first steps, tottering across the terrace toward me, arms outstretched. Poppy filmed it, laughter bubbling. Look at her go. We celebrated with gelato from the village, sticky chins and sun-warmed skin. That night, as rain pattered once more, Poppy traced my collarbone. I choose you, Hope. Every time. Our lovemaking was slow, reverent reconnection, not conquest. Bodies remembering paths long trod. Whispers of forever against skin. Yet drama brewed anew. Connor flew in unannounced mid-June, Sage napping inside. He stood at the gate, gaunt in a linen shirt, eyes hollow. I need to see her. Poppy barred the door, voice steel. Court says supervised. But he pleaded. Just talk. Please. We relented, terrace truce, Maria hovering like a sentinel. He held Sage awkwardly, her squirms betraying. She's happy here, he said, voice breaking. But I miss her. Us. Poppy's resolve cracked. There is no us, Connor. Not like that. He turned to me then, raw. Did you know? All those years. I met his gaze. I loved her. Still do. Silence heavy. He left with a nod. Take care of them. Relief was short-lived. July brought Poppy's breakdown. A call from the museum. Full-time offer, Madrid posting. It's my dream, she cried, Sage on her hip. But leaving you. Dream. The word echoed our early days. Go, I said, masking ache. We'll bridge it. But doubt festered. Was I tether or anchor? She deferred, citing custody, but tension simmered. Arguments over pacifiers masking deeper fears. Crisis peaked in August, heat wave baking the earth. Sage spiked a fever, ear infection, the pediatrician said, but Poppy spiraled. What if it's worse? What if I'm not enough? Paranoia from the pregnancy risks resurfaced. Nights spent pacing with a thermometer. I held the fort. Cool cloths, lullabies, calls to Elena. You're enough, I soothed. We're enough. But exhaustion frayed us. Snapped words over laundry, silences thick as fog. The turning point. A weekend in Barcelona. Dragging Sage to the aquarium. Jellyfish pulsing like living art. Poppy watched them, mesmerized. Beautiful chaos, she murmured. Later, over paella at our old spot, she set down her fork. I turned it down. The job. This you, Sage, the finca. It's my masterpiece. Tears mine this time. Then let's finish it. No more secrets. Fall deepened, leaves turning amber. Custody settled, joint but primary with us, Connor's visits to Spain. He softened over video calls, Sage's data bridging chasms. Poppy's parents visited once, tentative, her mother's confusion yielding to hugs, her father's gruff, she's a O'Malley, all right. Progress inch by inch. Yet the emotional undercurrent pulled. Nightmares of loss, Poppy's hand seeking mine in sleep. I almost lost this, she'd whisper awake. We'd reaffirm. Cliff walks, painting sessions, Sage's babble our soundtrack. Romance rekindled softly. Notes in lunchboxes, dances in the kitchen to Joan Manuel Serrat. By November, Sage's first birthday, we'd woven a new tapestry. Cake smeared on chubby cheeks, laughter echoing. Connor joined virtually, toasting to family however it looks. As candles flickered, Poppy leaned in. To us. Finally. But life, dramatic as ever, had one more twist. Sage's party lingered in confetti trails and the faint vanilla scent clinging to the finca's air. But the real celebration was quieter. Poppy and I, post-bedtime, on the terrace with glasses of Priorat red, the sea a distant hush. 1 year, she said, clinking my glass. Feels like a lifetime. Her green eyes caught the moonlight, softer now, lines of worry etched but fading. At 34, she was more vivid than ever. Curves softened by motherhood, freckles deepened by sun. I traced her hand, 35 feeling wiser, scars like badges. Our lifetime, I replied. No more hyphens, no secrets. Winter solstice brought ceremony. A commitment ritual in the olive grove, just us three. No rings, too loaded, but vows scratched on paper, buried under a sapling almond. I choose the mess with you, Poppy Reed, voice steady. The colors, the storms. Sage babbled from a blanket, clutching twigs like offerings. I spoke next. You're my light, my anchor. No more horizons apart. We kissed under mistletoe scavenged from the cliffs, Sage's giggles sealing it. Human messy hours. Spring 2026 bloomed defiant. Poppy launched a virtual gallery, Hidden Strokes, showcasing queer artists from Spain's shadows. I curated the photos. Intimate portraits, light-piercing veils. Sage toddled through it all, her first words expanding. Love you, ho mama. The dual names mended something in me. A family fractal, not fractured. Conflicts didn't vanish. Connor's visits stirred silt. Awkward dinners where he'd eye our joined hands, Sage's affections divided. You're good together, he admitted once, over coffee in Girona. I see it now. Divorce finalized that summer, amicable, assets split like amicable ghosts. He dated a colleague, a soft-spoken teacher. We cheered from afar, Sage's drawings winging to Boston. Poppy's family thawed unevenly. Her mother, in lucid spells, sent knitted booties. Letters from the home spoke of accepting God's varied paths. Her father visited alone, post-harvest, stomping through the finca in work boots. Didn't raise her for this, he grumbled, but softened watching Sage chase chickens. She's happy. That's something. Progress human scale. My own kin surfaced tentatively. A sister's email. Saw your exhibit online. Proud. I replied with photos, Sage's grin, Poppy's arm around me. Come see, I invited. They did that July, Mom and Sis wide-eyed at the airport. Awkward hugs, then the finca's magic. Dinners of Fadua. Poppy's easy charm disarming. Mom held Sage, tears tracing. She's beautiful. Like her mother's. Plural. A word unlocked. Drama peaked in September. A storm fiercer than 16ths. Lightning cracking the sky, winds howling like banshees. Power failed. We huddled by candlelight, Sage fretful. Poppy's panic flared. Old fears of loss, but I anchored. Stories of our first rain-soaked night. Laughter weaving through thunder. Dawn broke clear, trees uprooted but standing. We weather it, she said, kissing my temple. Resilience, our quiet superpower. By Sage's second birthday, the finca thrummed. A proper party, expat friends spilling onto the terrace, Connor toasting with kava. Balloons bobbed like dreams realized. As dusk fell, Poppy pulled me aside under the almond tree. Remember the hook? She teased, echoing our start. I laughed. Rain, a baby, shattered promises. She pressed a canvas into my hands, our portrait 9 years distilled. 2 women entwined, child at center, cliffs behind. No more secrets, she whispered. Just this. Life unfolded humanly after. No grand finale but chapters rich. Sage started preschool in the village, bilingual chatter-charming teachers. Poppy's gallery went global, TEDx invite to Barcelona. Restoring the invisible. I published Secret Shores, a memoir photo book dedication split. To Poppy my color, to Sage my light. Challenges came. Teething tantrums, custody tweaks, Poppy's sabbatical to Madrid testing trust. But we navigated. Date nights in Kadax, therapy check-ins, Sage's questions. Why 2 mamas? Met with truths age-appropriate. Love's a big tent, I'd say, her eyes wide. One cliffside evening, 3 years post that rainy plea, Sage asleep inside. Poppy and I watched the sunset bleed orange into sea. By Kitch Hey Ko How? She mused, Boston lilt teasing, tragedy or happy end. I pulled her close, wind salty. Human. That's the win. She nodded, head on my shoulder. 9 years secret, 3 open. A life painted bold. And in the golden light, with olive whispers and waves below, we were whole. Not perfect but profoundly ours.